Good morning and welcome. I'm Bob Pace, your host, and here we are to fight CPS with Bob Pace. This is a live broadcast around the world, and I'm so glad that you found me. Um, Now, this is an interactive podcast. You found me on Facebook, and I'm using YouTube to do this podcast, and I have the SteamYard application that works for me on that. And there's several ways that you can interface with this podcast. Again, we are here to talk about the child protection system. That's what I call about the government entity that's a branch of social services in every county and every state. Its sole purpose, well, there's several purposes of the CPS. Now, in every state, it's going to be called in every county a different name. Like in California, it's the Child Protection System. In Arizona's Department of Children's Services. In other places, it may have some other names. But what I'm talking about is this branch of social service that deals with the protection of our children from neglect and abuse, and also to help out a family is in need. They may need food, they may need clothing or housing, or they may need a job. And that's what social service is supposed to do. It's supposed to help out our American people in time of need through education and medical plans and so forth. Because right now, we as a country are struggling. There's a lot of you that have lost jobs, or are being have our time, or maybe you're a new immigrant and you just came to the United States. Everybody is welcome to social service in the United States, whether you're a citizen or not. And the United States wants to help everybody. And I'm glad that you're here because maybe I can share some lights on how to deal with the child protection system. Now, if they break apart your family, you may have a hiccup or something. They may take your children. And they are supposed to do family reunification. This being said, it's the best parents for the children are children, biological parents. Those are the best parents. You can't go wrong here. Now, I'm broadcasting outside. Um, I'm in Surf City, California, about a mile from the beach. It's very hot today. We usually have an ocean breeze blowing, but right now the palm fronds are blowing, but it's hot air. Usually it's uh, the idea that you have an ice tray in front of a fan and that cold air is blowing you. But I know all of you are suffering from the heat in every place of the world. We have extreme heat temperatures and stuff. So I'm glad you're in this room. I'm glad you found me. And I want to welcome Faye. Um, Thank you, Faye. She says, hello, everybody. I hope you're having a blessed day. Now, Faye is a single mother from Kentucky. And she was brought up in foster care when she was a small child. 5 times she was in foster care. Unfortunately, her mother wasn't the best. She loves her mother. Mother's gone on to a new world. And so Faye fell in love and had 2 children. Unfortunately, because she's in foster care, they interfered with her family. She had a son who's now 23, and he's a special needs son. He needs special care. Right now, he's going through COVID. He got COVID, and I hope that Faye doesn't get it. But, you know, when Faye had her daughter born, social, the corruptness of the social workers and the CPS, the Child Protection System in Richmond, Kentucky, made an ultimatum to her. Either she give up her daughter or she keep her son. Now, that's a sad thing for any government agency to make you pick. This happens all the time. This happens all the time. And so, she made the choice because her son needed her. And her daughter now, I think, is 12 in foster care. Hopefully, she'll see her daughter when she turns 18. I, too, have lost two daughters, one at the age of 3 and the other one at the age of 12. I have a family of 6 children and 2 wives. My first wife, I was married for 10 years, but she wanted a divorce, and I had no choice but to go along with it. And I met another woman that I love very much, and we've been married for 31 years. So I have had 41 years of marriage and 6 children by 2 different women. I'm a family man. I'm a loving father. Last night, as a lot of you told you for a week, that I was going to go with my son to watch his school. He played football there, played the number 2 team in the country, Bishop Gorman. Now, he won the national championship last year, but Bishop Gorman decided to not play Modern Day, and they were crowned the national champion by the Max Prep, the only sporting organization. The Modern Day was declared by everything. So last night game proves a lot of things. The only team to beat Bishop Gorman has been Modern Day. Their only losses in the last, 10 years has been Modern Day. And so it's an exciting time for your family. Family is so important out there. Now, Faye wanted to elaborate on her daughter. Her daughter was adopted by a foster to adopt mom who lived and cheated to do everything she could do to steal her baby. That's the sad part you're going to find. This child protection system is corrupt. They don't care for you as a person. They will retaliate. And I'm sorry to do that so bad because we do need the child protection system. Every day I read articles how people are abducted or hurt or children are. And I agree, we need CPS. But what's happened is that now the CPS has gone the full spectrum. And so they're hammering any parent who maybe could be corrected or could keep their children by automatically taking their children because they think they're in extreme danger. And sadly, it hurts the parents. It hurts me. I've lost 2 daughters. One was sad to say was my wife said, "You'll never see your daughter again," my first wife. And that was a hard thing to swallow. And it's true. She's now in her 30s, and I've not seen her. I've kept track of her. I tried to go to high school graduation. I tried to follow her, put notes in her books, and I did everything a father could lovely do. But some people are like that. Well, my next daughter that I lost was actually a retaliation by a social worker. It was sad. And that's why Faye, who says that the foster mom cheated to do everything she could to steal her baby. You see, when you're in foster care as a child, they keep records on you. So if you decide later to fall in love and have a children and a family, they're going to try to destroy you because why? You're easy prey for money. The money is what keeps the child protection system evil. It's $1 trillion business. I'm not billion, not million, $1 trillion. And I know firsthand that my children, 3 of them, that were kidnapped and trafficked into foster care and abused in foster care and alienated from their parents, got $20,000 a month. Not them, but the CPS organization in Orange County.
Yeah, I guess there's just no one else in the
In Orange County, CPS organization is corrupt. I know firsthand. I dealt and fought the director. I met all the supervisors and people. I know how they're tricksters and everything. So I am here to share what I learned. Faye's here to share what she learned and help you with the 388 motion, to help you with the JV 160 hearing, or to help you if you're a Native American Indian, the ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act of 1978. There's a lot of knowledge that Faye and I have. And I have about over 50 tabs opened up that all kinds of things that can help you. Because the internet is full of knowledge. And that was one area that I didn't do when my case came around. So I need to go back to how we interact. And that's really important.
Are we out?
Let me see
Okay, let's
here.
go to ruins. We'll run into where people in ruins. I mean,
The interact with this podcast is there's four ways. And the first way, you're already in here. Right now, I have people in the room. They're listening and hopefully taking notes. And I really like that. I also like you to do emojis if you think things are going good. Happy faces, love, thumbs up. Those are nice things. Also, I wish you subscribe to me down below and subscribe to my podcast. I've been doing this podcast twice a day since October of 2023. And there's over 400, 500 podcasts I've done. They're on the internet. All you do is type in Fight CPS Bob Pace, and you'll see in Google there's 14 pages of me. And every podcast, I talk about some rules that I've come up with help from Faye. There's 5 rules I talk about, that things I wish I'd followed, but I didn't. I also talk about how you could avoid CPS. I mean, CPS is an awful agency to go through because they're corrupt now. Now, being in this room and doing emojis is good, but you may want to uh, ask some questions or make comments about your CPS case. Now, the CPS was what we should stick on. There's a lot of topics I could talk about. I'm thinking down the road to do a podcast, Ask Anything Bob Pace, because I have a wealth of all kinds of my background. Now, who am I? But before I do that, it's very important I tell you about how to text in comments or questions. They must pertain to the child protection system. Please show me your name. And you probably say, I already got a name. It's Jumping Alligators or Fluorescent Butterflies or Over the Rainbow. I know a lot of you have created names to, pursue your interests or whatever you're trying to do there. But I like a name like Bill, Mary, Kathy, Don, some typical names. I don't need a last name. I just need a first name. So if your name is not up there, please put your first name. And on top of that, please list the city or county and state you're from. Now, what I mean by city, state, or county, I like to get an idea where in the United States, where CPS is awful. And so far, I've talked to over 500 people from every state, including Washington, D.C. I've even talked to far out places like the Rosebud Reservation, home of the Lakota Sioux in South Dakota. I've talked about another Indian tribe, the Cherokee in Oklahoma that moved from Florida to Oklahoma. The Osage is also in Oklahoma. There's lots of Indian tribes. I've also talked to a First Nation people in Canada, what they call their Indians, from British Columbia and their tribe. So, I've talked to a lot of people. I mean, I've talked to about 13 countries. So countries are welcome to join this podcast. All I ask you is to be polite and kind, and
Yeah, dude. Like
I
Beta 3.
uh, feel
I think it was like
strongly that
Beta
I am
3 and
here.
4.
I'm dedicated my life twice a day, 7 days a week, to help you all through this horrible experience that you're experiencing. You wouldn't be in this room if you don't need help. And some of you are homeless, some of you are low income,
It always catches people off guard.
and I've experienced the same. I mean, I've experienced all gamuts. You know, I worked for 40 years in my house. My dream home was stolen by CPS. My credit has been ruined by CPS. My second born daughter has been ruined by, has been stolen by CPS. I've lost a lot. And I hope that I can share with you what you're doing. Now, some of the other countries that have come in as far is in the uh, is Bangladesh has texted in some concerns. New Delhi, India, and Africa, the continent of Africa. I've had several countries there. I've had Liberia on the North Africa on the coast on the west side, and I've had South Africa province on the west side, and then I've had Rwanda uh, on the central East Africa near Lake Victoria, and then I've had um, Mozambique, which is on the east side opposite Madagascar. And then moving up to Europe, I've had England, Scotland, Wales, and Sweden and Denmark. Then across the pond, I've had Canada, both coasts of Canada. I've had several people from Canada. And then, of course, the United States, I've had all the 50 states and Washington, D.C. talk about their cases. So I have a general idea, and I can honestly say it seems like I would say at least 90% of the cases, or actually maybe more than that, have been where they've taken away your child because they weren't in imminent danger and they're not going to give your child back. They're trying to force you to sign papers, sign plans, and do all kinds of awful things. They don't care about children or families. They don't care about seniors or elderly people. All they care about is making a fast buck, and that's wrong. So when you text in a comment, try to tell me about your case before your question so that I get an idea. And that same thing goes too if you call it. Try to sit there and tell about what your family is made of. Are you a husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, lovers, whatever? And then also your children makeup. I have three girls, two boys, two young boys, two older boys, three I have teenagers, whatever. So tell me what your family's about, and then tell me how the children were taken from your home. Were they taken from your home, and how were they taken? I need to know that. I need to know how they got your children. And then what were the allegations? And the details of the allegations would help me. And then I'd like to know where you at on your case. That would make it complete. So if you spent the first, couple sentences describing those things to me, then it would make it easier so we don't have to go back and forth and play ping pong. I enjoy ping pong, but it takes time. And what I want to do is I want to help you. So that's the second way of interacting with this podcast. A third way is I love for you to be a guest on my show. I can have up to 9 people. I have it shown there on my window. I can have up to 9 people in my uh, window, total of 10, including me. And all you have to do to be a guest is contact our show producer. Her name is Grace. She works behind the scene and she's trying to reestablish our links. They're not shown, but she says all the Facebook links are there. And I have a YouTube link. So they're all there. And all you do is email Grace at vincentwdavis.com. That's Grace at vincentwdavis.com. And she will help you get on the podcast. She will give you the link to StreamYard so that you can join us. And then she'll tell you what you can do and not do on the podcast. And some of the things is that there's no eating or chewing gum or snacking on the podcast or smoking. Also, you do not use the first names of children or social workers, or do not use the names, I should say first names, do not use the names of social workers or children or the judges. It's very important. It's very, very, very important. And you just email her that I want to be on Bob's morning show or evening show, Saturday or Sunday. My show times is simple. I'm on 7 days a week, twice a day. I'm on at 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time for 1 hour. And then I'm on again at night at 7 p.m. for 1 hour. And that's all Pacific Standard Time. Now, there is some exceptions. On Sunday, every Sunday, I come on at 8, which is a couple hours early because I go with my family to church. And on special occasions, especially with football season on Friday Night Lights, on Friday I come on at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, uh, it's going to be strange because our game is going to be in Hawaii on Saturday. So I haven't yet figured out the time on Saturday, which is a week from this Saturday. But I'll let you know. I'll let you know. So email Grace at vincentwdavis.com and you can be on my podcast. And I'd love to have you. I welcome you. So that's the third way you can be on my podcast. Now, the fourth way to interface with my podcast, to be a part of it, is you can call in. I just put my number up. It's 626-698-0990. And you're welcome to call in and talk to me. And you can talk to people in the room. I'll put you on speakerphone, and hopefully we can help you with your CPS question or comment. And anything outside of the showtime hours, I won't be able to take your call. You leave a message, but I'll text you back what my show hours are. I can only talk during my show hours. So that is important for you to know that. So call in. The phone is open. I use Vonage, which is a web-based program to do my phone. It's 626-698-0990. And I'll put you on speakerphone and so everybody can hear you. My phone is on and I'm live. And Faye can help you too, because Faye's in the room listening and she's already had some ideas and so forth there. So now I've told you about the four ways to interact with the podcast. One is by being in the room and listening. Two is to text in a comment. Three is to be a guest on my podcast. And four is to call in. And we still got some problems with the notification. Faye said at 10:13 this morning, Pacific Standard Time, she just got the notification for the live podcast. So we are trying to work on the notifications. But I'm really glad to have you in this room. Now, at this point, I have several ways I can go. I can talk about topics There's a lot of them on Core Digest. There's a lot of CPS topics there. Also on breaking news, there seems to be a lot of CPS alarming things about children. Or I could talk about one of the 50 tabs I have open. And then, I could talk more about my case, about how my daughter was stolen and how my family was, interrupted and so forth. I can talk about what a social worker is like. There's lots of things. I like this room to be what you want to talk about. So if you're in my room right now listening, text me a message of what you'd like me to talk about. Faye, is there anything you'd like to talk about? I asked Faye that question.
Oh, I see two. There's a road. Let's go for the wizard. I'm here. I calmed everything. I said we needed to go back to the ranger, bro. The ranger was gonna not. Yeah, I know what that one is. Oh, I'm getting that first.
Hi, Faye.
Hey, Bob.
What would you like to talk about?
So I was reading in a group earlier, and there was a mom going through a CPS case, and she was talking about how she was having a hard time getting medical records on her children, even though she still maintained her parental rights and her medical and educational rights to her children. One of the records that she was able to obtain, when she read them, it stated that her child had been taken to the doctor for physical child abuse. And this was in the foster home. So she was trying to get more information on that and was unable to obtain it. And CPS would not let her look in the file or obtain the file to get more information about, the doctor's notes or what came of that. So this is why I tell parents involved with these cases that before you ever even have a case, you need to have all your children's medical files in your home. You need their mental health files, you need their physical health files, you need their educational files, all in your home. That way, when or if there is ever a case where you have a case with CPS, they can't freeze that information and keep you from using it. Because what a lot of times they'll do is they'll go into the medical, educational, and mental health files, and they'll decipher things the way they want to, and they'll take and twist and turn it and make it look like you didn't do something or you should have done something and you didn't. And then if you can't access those files, you can't dispute their claims.
Well, my question is that legal what they're doing?
Well, I mean, not much of anything that CPS does is legal, Bob. They don't go by rules or laws.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So by their standards, they think they can do that. But then what happens if you go above their head and ask or demand, is there a document you could file like a 3-8 petition where you can have a hearing with the judge and demand those records?
I mean, you can try, but most of the judges just go along with them. I mean, unless you can find a judge that don't, but that's rare.
True, I agree, but at least I'm telling my listeners that they can try. 388 motion is called 38 in California. Other states it may be called something different. But it's a motion that you can put before the judge to demand a hearing if you have new evidence or things have changed or you want to consult your case. So what you do is you file the motion, you give the reason for your motion, and within 30 days they have to have a hearing about it. And then you could ask the court. Of course, if you have a court-appointed attorney, I don't know, you're just wasting your time. If you have a real bona fide attorney, then he or she could demand that document.
Well, I mean, isn't a 388 motion a change of circumstances?
It's also new evidence.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, the 388 can be almost anything you want. Its whole purpose is to have a hearing with the judge. Now, the judge could deny it because they say it's a waste of time, or, it could be, I'm trying to think of the right word to say it, but the 3.8 is an opportunity to have something heard that's critical to your case. And I think having the medical records, it appalls me. There's two things you talk about. One, when they take your child, your foster care don't tell you. If you have medical rights, they have to tell you. They have to ask your permission, mom. They got to ask permission of the mom.
Well, that's the way it's supposed to be.
I agree.
But in these cases, it never goes that way. Like in my case, I didn't get to attend any of my children's appointments, any of my children's educational appointments, anything, period. They even had surgery on my kids without telling me.
Yeah,
and I didn't even get to be there in the event that something went wrong.
Yeah. Well, this is a good question, is how do we, well, I've been really good lately.
It's supposed to be HIPAA. HIPAA is supposed to protect your medical records.
I agree.
But it seems like when CPS comes in, HIPAA goes out the window. Sorry, Bob, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, you didn't interrupt me. I'm right now typing in Google, how do we get medical records if we still have medical rights?
Yeah, but CPS puts a freeze on them.
In CPS cases. I'm going to say, how do we get them?
Well, a subpoena, but if there's a freeze on them, it's not what you can do about it.
Well, no, you can have a judge make a court order.
Yeah, well, I know. It's just to do that, Bob. That's the most important part of it, is getting the judge to do it. The judge wouldn't do it in my case.
Well, let me hear what response to my question came up with. In general, oh God, I touched my touchpad and it erased it. In general, parents of children involved with the Department of Children and Family, DCF, retain their parental rights and the right to access their children's medical records. However, there are some exceptions, such as when the court terminates parental rights or specifically protective service commitments. Now, that's what I've come across with. Can CPS get medical records without permission? CPS is allowed to ask for medical for those records, as there's no prohibit, but your doctor never has the right to share it. So you can file a HIPAA. There you go. Anybody who denied the records should file a HIPAA. Now, as you know, a HIPAA is the I forgot what HIPAA stands for now. God dang it.
Did you just curse?
I'm sorry, what?
Jeez, never mind, Bob.
What did I do wrong?
No, never mind. Jeez, never mind, Bob. What did I do wrong? Nothing. No, never mind.
HIPAA stands for the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. It's a federal law that was passed in 1996 to protect patients' health information from being disclosed without their consent. HIPAA also requires healthcare providers to protect and handle patients' health information in confidential matters. So, if your records are being investigated by, that's wrong. If you still have the medical rights, you can file a complaint with HIPAA. You can file a complaint with HIPAA. Now I hear myself in my background like I'm repeating myself.
Yeah, Bob, hold on a minute.
Okay.
I can't open the door.
Oh, get this. Look what I found, Faye. I asked, can CPS freeze my medical records? The answer is yes. Child Protection Services or the Child Protection System can freeze medical records because they're not covered by the Health Insurance Portability Accountability Act. They're not covered by HIPAA. Many state agencies, including CPS, are not covered by HIPAA. So that's how they can freeze your health records. CPS is allowed to ask for the records as there's no prohibition, but your doctor never had the right to share it, so you can file HIPAA. So the answer is CPS is not covered by HIPAA, but your doctor's not supposed to share it, so you file a HIPAA complaint. Does that make sense, Faye? Faye, did I lose you? Okay, I had Faye on there, but Faye was talking about medical records being freezed. Yes, CPS can freeze the medical records, and so you can't see them because they're not under the law with HIPAA. But your doctors cannot release the information because HIPAA says so, and you can file a grievance with HIPAA that they released your medical records. Faye, are you okay? Faye, are you still there? Well, I've lost Faye. She was on the line. So we're talking about the medical records. And yes, CPS is not a part of HIPAA, so they can freeze the medical records, but the doctor is, and the doctor is not supposed to release those records. A lot of the doctors don't know. And the same thing about schools. They don't know the law. And so if CPS muscles their way into the school or into the doctor's world, they will try to say anything. That's why they'll con the policeman to come with them to take your child. They're not supposed to take your child unless they're in imminent danger.
coming from behind on the other side. May I go this way? Did they go to boss? I think they went to boss.
Now, parents do have the right to prohibit such
I don't want to go to
releases.
boss from the other way though.
So that was a good question you brought up, Faye. Apparently, Faye has
We're
some
behind them.
technical problems. I don't know what's happened to Faye,
Oh, what the fuck?
but she has some technical problems.
That's fucked up, dude.
So anyway,
Okay. Hold on a second.
the phone is open,
One's dead though.
and you're welcome to call into my podcast. We have about 20 minutes left of my podcast,
Yeah, come
and
boys, come. Wait, back up,
I
back up. Heal, bro, heal.
want to help you. I want to help you. So DCF or the CPS can freeze your medical records. They're not a part of HIPAA. But the doctor's not supposed to release medical records. That's part of HIPAA, and you can complain to your doctor to HIPAA. You're probably going to ask you, how do you file a complaint with HIPAA?
Okay, now you gotta run. Let him go, please.
Now, anyone can file a complaint with HIPAA if there's been a violation of the HIPAA rules.
The first guy had a long story.
Now, it's filed with the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. So you want to go to the Health and Human Services. It can be filed in writing, by mail, fax, or email, or via the OCR complaint portal. You name the covered entity or business associated involved, like your doctor or whatever it is, and then describe the acts or omissions you believe violated the requirements of privacy, security, or breach notification rules.
You have traps?
It needs to be filed with 180 days when you knew the act of omission. OCR may be extended the 100-day period if you can show good cause. So you have 180 days from the time that was discovered, and you need to file that complaint. Now, under HIPAA, an entity cannot retaliate against you for filing a complaint. You should notify OCR immediately in the event of any retaliation action. Now, open the OCR complaint portal and select the type of complaint you like to file. Complete as much information as possible, including the information about you, the complainter, the complaint, and details of the complaint. In addition, information that might help your OCR when reviewing your complaint. You'll need to electronically sign the complaint and complete the consent form. After completing the consent form, you'll be able to print out a copy of your complaint to keep for your records. You can also file it in writing with the Office for Personal Management and CDC guidelines of COVID-19 HHS prepared terror. OCR is committed to handling your complaint as quickly as possible. However, for faster process, we strongly encourage you to use the OCR online portal to file a complaint rather than file mail, as our personnel site is limited. So you can file a complaint, and you need to find the complaint through the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. And you need to go to that OCR portal. So I'm glad you brought that up, Faye. I hope I answered everybody's questions. I've lost Faye. She's still on the phone, but I don't seem to hear her. So I don't know if something happened in her home front or not. Oh, now I figured it out. Somehow Faye was on hold. I really don't like this bondage program because you can accidentally hit things. So Faye, you still there? Faye, you still there? Well, I'm gonna hang up and see if I can reconnect her.
Fuck, I could have sworn you guys were saying that they knew about us, and then I was like, yeah. I hear them. They're underneath. That guy's one shot.
Well, Faye may have it open on her end. So
Yes, hello.
That Warlock did
You have reached my voicemail, and I'm unavailable
Warlock.
to take your call right now. So if you could leave your name and a brief message as soon as I possibly can. Thank you, and have a wonderful blessed day.
yeah, hi Faye.
At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Yeah, hi Faye. I somehow lost you on the call. I tried to call you back. Your phone may be still connected. But anyway, I appreciate you talking about the medical records. I think I've got it figured out that you can file a grievance with the U.S. Department of Health, Human and Health, and then there's an OCR that you can fill out the page. You have 180 days to do so. And also, um, CPS can freeze your medical records because they're not part of HIPAA. And but the doctors should not disclose it because they are part of HIPAA. So you can file a complaint against your doctor for releasing it. Anyway, that was good that you brought up about the medical records.
Oh yeah, take this. Take this.
Now, for some of you that were hearing about my case and it was a bad one, I like to describe there are two ways that allegations are made. They're made by professionals like police and doctors and nurses and teachers and principals. Um, they all are uh, made because they're required by law, if they deal with children, to report abuse or neglect. The other kind of person is the layperson, and that's where the system is abused a lot lately. I'd say 50% or even more.
I wanted to say
People are using, lay people are not reporting the truth about allegations. They use it for alternative motives, like they don't like you as a neighbor because your dog barks, or they don't like you as a neighbor because your yard crosses their yard. So they'll fabricate stuff that's not true. Make you go through hoops with the CPS because the CPS is not very smart. They're very dumb. Anytime they hear an allegation, they think it's the truth. So you're guilty. Then it's up to you to prove that you're innocent. Every other court of law, you're innocent till you're proven guilty. But in CPS, you're guilty until you're proven innocent. So that's why it works against you. So it's very, very important that I share that with you.
I have iron wills. I didn't even notice he was talking about us.
So, whoops. I guess she's not going to answer. So I know this is very difficult for you to understand. CPS is not your friend. They're not transparent. They'll do revengeful. Some examples of social workers that work for CPS, the Child Protection System, are the 8 ladies. I wouldn't want to call them ladies, the 8 females that were social workers in Prescott, Arizona. In the year 2022, they decided to take upon themselves to buy pink t-shirts, and on the front they stenciled professional child kidnappers. And on the back they put, do you know where your children are at? Well, that was so sad because what had happened is that these allegations that are made are usually unfounded. But the CPS will believe they're true and will file. Once they find out that you have no income, they're going to aggressively take your child into foster care. Now, what I mean by no income, that you have no means to get yourself an attorney. I recommend that when you first hear a call or you first talk to the child protection system, be courteous and nice. Don't say much yes, no answers. And right away tell them that you need to speak to your attorney, and you will get back to them. Get their name, if they're on the phone, then get their name and so forth. If you happen to be out with a policeman, get the badge number, his or her badge number. Also, check out their ID, make sure it's the name, because a lot of times the police and the social workers will lie about their name. Will lie. So I strongly urge you to get an attorney. And that's my rule number 1. I have an attorney. His name is Vincent W. Davis. He is a child protection. He is a juvenile family dependency lawyer. He has over 35 years. He's a trial attorney. He knows how to fight CPS. He has gotten children back. He has fought CPS. And on top of that, he has done lawsuits, civil lawsuits against CPS and won millions of dollars, both in federal and state court. So he's well experienced. He's one of the best. And I've got a deal with him that he'll do a consultation with you for 30 minutes for $60. 30 minutes for $60. Now, a lot of attorneys will say, well, I don't charge a consultation fee. But are they who they say they are? Do they have experience? You see, your key success in determining a good attorney is 1, they are a family juvenile dependency lawyer. 2, they've fought CPS and won cases, won their children back. And then 3, they've fought CPS in civil lawsuits and won millions of dollars. With those 3 things, you have a good attorney. Now, prices vary. The retainer is what they'll talk to you. And Vincent will talk about his. But his primary purpose is to help you out with your immediate concerns and how to navigate CPS and how to get them off your back. And one way to get involved, you should never talk to them because they use what you say. And if you meet them, don't let them in your home. Don't give up your children. There's only one way to get in your home. If you give them permission to come in, or there's domestic violence going on and children are being hurt, or they have a court warrant. Those are only 3 ways you get in your home. And that goes true about every letting them in. So I strongly encourage you to call Vincent's office at 888-888-6582. Tell the office staff that Bob Pace sent you so that you can get the special Zoom meeting with Vincent for 30 minutes for $60. They'll take your credit card and, debit it $60. And then you're entitled to a half-an-hour session with Mr. Davis on Zoom to discuss CPS. And also maybe you want to hire him. That's up to you. I don't know what your financial situation is. But if you keep using a court appointed attorney, they are 30 people or more caseload. They don't have time for your case. They won't speak to you out of the hearing. So if you go there, he'll talk to you a few minutes in the hallway. And in California, you're not allowed in the courts. So it's all secretive and hush, hush, hush.
Anyone have a pair of loose trousers?
So I say
They're like,
fighting CPS is like doing open heart surgery. As you know, in open heart surgery, you're going to get a real doctor to work on the heart. You're not going to have a lay person. And you need a real expert in family service because they're so powerful, money hungry individuals. They're going to take advantage of you. They're going to take advantage of you, don't know the law, the language.
oh, my ranger has some.
Now, I want you all to understand that in order to fight CPS, you need a professional attorney. That court appointed attorney will not help you get your kids back. Again, they have a 30 person clientele, clients. They want an easy way out, so they're not going to go fight hard for it.
I only have one.
So I'm telling you, CPS is not to mess around with. Because you do, you will lose your kids. You will lose your kids. They are corrupt. So you need to get a real bona fide attorney. That's my rule number one. Now I have other rules. We talked briefly about medical records. You should create a folder with all the medical records of your children, their birth certificate, their social security card, their shot records, and any reports you have on mental health or anything like that. Because they're going to try to prove that they have mental health problems or you have mental health problems. Because they're trying to get your child because all they interest is money. They don't care about you as a parent. I don't know how important it is to tell you that you've really stumbled into an agency that is so big that it doesn't care about stomping the little guys. Now we're close to our ending of our show. I have right now 11 o'clock, and I want to thank you all. I want to thank Faye for being in my room and what she does. I really helped her with that, Faye. I want to thank all the other people in my room, and I want you to still keep fighting for your kids. Don't give up. And I'll be back again at 7 o'clock tonight. I love to talk to you all, so come back again at 7 o'clock tonight. So have a beautiful day, and God bless you all. And